Now, you and I have either heard of a struggling church security team that's not official or not officially authorized. They're happening all the time. The church leaders know that there's a problem in our society today with violence against churches, but they also know that some of their people want a security team in the church so that they don't feel vulnerable. So all the way around. But there is some sort of a problem, concern, or maybe fear-based on a lack of knowledge, so they don't want it to be official. They don't want it to be authorized. And the leaders may even tell unofficial security team leaders that they don't want to even know. Don't tell me what's going on, but get something started. Get some people together, but just don't tell me. This unofficial, unauthorized, or informal team is what I'm suggesting or giving you my opinion that you don't join. As a team member, don't join in promoting it as a leader unless it's allowed to become an official church security team. When we have to operate in secret, this can cause a foundation for problems. We're not part of the church dialogue. We're not allowed to officially discuss the operation or the team. We may not even be really able to train on how to handle typical situations or discuss our tactics, like avoiding a crossfire situation, or legally, how should we handle a restraining order violation or no contact order, which is potentially high liability. It's a legal order. So with this unofficial team, we don't really have a foundation for improving as individuals or as a team, which may increase our liabilities for either you as the individual or for the church. So I would propose to you that this may even increase the church's liability by having a don't tell type policy, which may be the original fear of the church leadership. So the liability of a church security team, I'm trying to underline that because of the hesitancy. We may be creating even more liability on an individual basis or on a church basis. So until it's official, don't join it. Don't secretly promote it. That's my opinion, not legal advice. I'm not an attorney. If you have a concealed permit or your profession allows you to carry your firearm, I'm certainly not giving you suggestions or advice on carrying it or not carrying it. That's completely up to you and a completely different topic than what I'm discussing here today. That's based on individual rights, individual decisions to carry or carry for defense purposes. Very different than an organized team effort under the umbrella of the church. Very different even than carrying as an off-duty law enforcement member. For law enforcement deciding to join a church security team, this is kind of important. It's even more complicated for a law enforcement officer in many communities, as they need what they call indemnification or permission from their boss. Because if they join your church security team and something happens, what they do can be, as far as enforcement or security, it may become a problem for their department. The liability can go back on their department and their training. So it's a bigger deal for them than just a simple, can you be part of the team? So along these lines, there are a few of my thoughts which further highlight what I've already been mentioning. So we're going to kind of re-underline a little more detail. They come from discussions with others in the last couple of weeks. I've had some people emailing me who are also struggling with this issue. Number one, your inward feeling as a leader, maybe since you're not sure about this security stuff, they didn't teach this. I definitely understand your inward thoughts because they didn't teach this stuff in church leadership school, Bible college. So because you're not sure, you won't fully commit. So you allow an informal team and just don't want to be told about it, which may quite possibly create more liability, as I've already been mentioning, because you don't want to add the liability. It's kind of a weird catch-22. It's a mess. By being what we might call lukewarm to this idea, we're creating a mess. I'm suggesting we study, get better educated, pick someone who has experience, pick someone to help you organize it, make it official, but let someone with more background or experience study it more, get it going, and lead the team. Number two, The liability for your team, possibly unknowingly to them, this can cause a bigger liability for them. Could be huge liability. If a team is not authorized, yet they're taking action on behalf of the church, could become a technical nightmare. And I'm just thinking of my own experience. It could be the first component to not only a civil liability issue like we've been talking about, but maybe even a criminal intent issue. If they were not part of an official idea to protect the church, not officially invited by the church to do this security or protect the people thing, then just jumping into the process on their own. Now I'm going out on a limb a bit here. But jumping out on their own could be perceived by a prosecutor or legal authority that, they start bringing up what's their intent, what's their reason, what's their justifiable reasoning for the issues. For starters, this could give somebody grounds to start contemplating the idea of charging someone for acting outside of a normal scope. And, I'm, again, not a legal advisor. You should consult an attorney. But from my experience, this puts someone unofficial in possibly a bad position if they do something to protect the church or the people in the church, especially if it's a high-profile situation within your community. The pressure and scrutiny may pour onto this person which tried to protect people in your church, and it certainly becomes a catastrophe. Number 3, this causes confusion if we're not fully committed to this team. Team members cannot ask questions like what should they do in a specific situation, or what do you want them to do? They can't even reach out to your legal advisor or church insurance company to ask about liability or decisions that might need to be made. And forget about official quarterly training. We can't do that kind of stuff. And number 4, riding on the fence is just bad. It's negative, it ties your hands, it confuses the brain, and could get people hurt because they hesitate. They don't know for sure what to do or when to do it. We're not talking about it, so they don't have any input. Besides the liability, this can make us look bad and get people hurt. And number 5, you create an island for people. They can't work as a team, they can't talk as a team or train as a team, and they can't hear from you. The ultimate leader of the team, they should be able to hear from, the one who provides balance between the safe and secure environment and the warm, welcoming environment of the church. If we're thinking there is a need today, which we should know there is, then get someone to help you start and supervise a team. Their training, supervise that training, and supervise eventually their policies. At some point in the next couple of years, you're going to need policies and some of those other necessary items that come along. Someone that can come to you and relay your thoughts to the team, and someone you can use to help guide your people and minimize liabilities. I know this security concept is completely foreign to many of us. I completely understand. As I always say, with my law enforcement background, I can be a good asset for security, but the opposite of you as a minister, I would be scared to death to teach a message to the congregation, and I don't think you'd want me to. I would hesitate. I'd try to find another way to do the message. So I understand the fear of security and its liability, possibly for you and for your church. I definitely understand those concerns. So my opinion is, and it's my opinion, I'm underlining that, don't join or start an unofficial team. Find a way to embrace and make it an official team with guidance from a trusted person of yours, with official meetings and official trainings and official methods of communication as a team. And as always, I thank you so much for joining me today and taking the time to get better at protecting your people and your church. And I hope that you stay safe and secure until I can catch up with you again on the next video.